I've seen this moment in many homes. A child walks up while a parent is finishing a message. The parent looks at the screen for a few more seconds and keeps typing. They tell themselves they're almost done. By the time they look up, the child has already said it again. Their voice is flat. It's the way kids sound when they know no one heard them the first time. The parent puts the phone down and gives their full attention. But that small gap seems to stay with the child longer than anyone knows. I have never spent much time on my own phone. It has just never been my habit. My wife uses hers more. She uses it mostly for work, to answer customers, and take care of things that really need her attention. But I have watched this happen in other families. I've seen it among friends and other parents I meet through my work. I know what it looks like. The message might really matter, the work might really be urgent, but a child feels the waiting before they understand why. Most parents I know have worked hard to manage their child's screen time. They set rules about how long a child can be on a screen. They limit which apps are allowed. These are the usual things everyone tries, and most of them will tell you it never quite works the way they hoped. In those moments, it's easy to blame the child. It's easy to think the problem is that the child has no discipline. But there is a better question underneath that one. Whose screen is actually the problem here? Here's what's easy to miss. A child comes to find a parent, but the parent finishes typing before looking up. The child feels that. At the dinner table, a parent's eyes drift back to a notification. The child notices, even if they say nothing. Most children have never heard an adult give themselves the same lecture they get about screen time. They have only seen what the grown-ups around them actually do with their phones. Children don't learn from what we tell them. They learn from what we do in front of them. This is true even in the small moments we don't think mean anything. Every time we answer a notification before we answer our child, we teach two lessons at once. The first lesson is how to use a phone. The second, quieter lesson is what deserves our attention. Children rarely remember the rules we give them. They remember what kept pulling us away from them. A child who spends hours on a game or a feed is not showing a bad character. These apps are built on purpose to be hard to put down. They use endless scrolling and small rewards. They always promise one more video. Children stepped into this world before they were old enough to understand what it was doing to their attention. Most adults get caught by the same kind of pull too. It just shows up in a different app at a different time of day with a different excuse. That is why a lecture about willpower can sound empty coming from someone who checks their own phone every few minutes. That doesn't mean adults and children are exactly the same. Adults usually have more self-control than children. But many of us still get caught by the same pull. And if a child watches an adult who can't put their own phone down, they have little reason to believe the rule is really about protecting them. It can start to feel like a rule adults just enforce on children because they can. Seen this way, it stops looking like a fight against the child. It starts looking like a struggle both of you are stuck in together. Neither of you chose this. A child did not choose to grow up inside a world built to keep pulling them back. If the adult holding the same kind of device lectures them about willpower, the child can tell something doesn't add up. After enough time on a feed where something new shows up every few seconds, slower things start to feel harder. A book asks us to stay with it for a while. A conversation doesn't reward us every 3 seconds. A hard task takes time before it gives us anything back. None of this needs a lecture. It just needs to be noticed gently and said out loud by someone the child trusts. A better conversation rarely starts with a rule. It starts with the truth. A parent can honestly say they feel this pull too, just in a smaller way. That single admission gives a child something no rule ever could. It gives them words for what's really happening. It stops feeling like a punishment for being the only one with a problem. I notice this pull too, sometimes without even choosing to, lands very differently than put that phone down. One feels like being on the same team, the other feels like a rule waiting to be broken. None of this means the phone should disappear completely. Some games build real skills, like problem solving and coordination. A lot of silly, harmless content is just what childhood has always looked like in a new shape. What actually matters is balance, not banning the phone completely. Every family sets different rules, but the rules that actually work are the ones everyone in the house follows, not just the children. A phone free meal works better when the adults put their phones away too. Keeping phones out of bedrooms at night works better when it is explained as protecting sleep, not punishing bad behavior. A rule like this works best when it is explained calmly before any argument starts. That way, it feels like how the family lives, not another punishment. More than any rule, the thing that actually protects a child online is staying curious about what they watch and play. This is not about questioning them like a police officer. It's about showing real interest. What's this game about? Can you show me how this works? 10 minutes sitting beside them builds something no setting ever can. It builds the feeling that they can come to you without being judged right away. Children already compete with many things for our attention: school, work, and everything else that fills our day. Now they compete with the small glowing screen in our hand too. They shouldn't have to compete with all of it at once. Turn your phone face down the moment your child comes to find you, even if it means finishing your message a minute later. That one small habit teaches your child something no rule ever could. The screen that shapes a child most is not the one in their hands, it's the one they are watching in ours. A child does not learn to put the phone down from a rule. They learn it from watching someone they trust do it first.